All right, so our next speaker is, I don't think I've actually told him that, but I consider him a gift. I consider him my secret weapon, and he is the guy responsible for my physical transformations over my last 3 physical transformations. And as you guys know, I've trained for over 6-7 years, and I felt like I needed something new. I needed to bring a new element into my physique development. And I think it was about last year in September, I knew Ben Pakulski from the University of Western Ontario. We both went to the same school, had the same group of friends, and we never really spoke at all in university, but I knew him by reputation from the small amount of time I had in the gym. And there was always rumors about this guy who would do these 10 sets of 10 leg workouts and had these behemoth calves and quads, and he was known by everybody, and he was just known as the biggest guy in the gym. And he was always kind of intimidating to me because that's when I was skinny Vinny, so we never really knew each other. I bought his DVD last year, and I watched it on a trip to Mexico with my wife, and I was really blown away by his level of expertise and his ability to speak in depth to bodybuilding. It's something that I buy a lot of bodybuilding DVDs of all the pros. I like hearing what they say and do. And he was the first guy that really stood out to me. And I told Flavie, I said, I should hire this guy. And I went on his website and contacted Ben, and he remembered me. And the rest is history. You guys have seen the transformation pictures. You saw the work he did with me. And I'm just absolutely thrilled that I can have him here at this event and be a part of my physical transformation. And for those that don't know his own physical journey, he's got quite a resume, everything from being one of the top Canadian bodybuilders. 2008, he won the Canadians. He became a pro in 2009. In 2010, he placed amongst some of the top bodybuilders in the world. This year, he's getting ready for the Arnold Classic in 2011, so he could qualify and go win the Mr. Olympia. That's what, when he tells me stuff like this, I honestly get goosebumps. And anyways, I've had an amazing experience working with him. You guys are going to see why he's one of the smartest bodybuilders alive and why I don't doubt that he will become one of the greatest bodybuilders of all time, and he will be a future Mr. Olympian alongside Arnold Schwarzenegger, Dorian Yates, Jay Cutler, and many others. So I'd like to welcome Ben Pac-Man Pakulski to the stage.
Thanks, man. How can I beat that intro? Thanks so much, guys. Thanks so much for coming. You guys have all traveled so far. First and foremost, I want you guys to stand up. Can everybody get up for a sec? I want you all to give yourselves a round of applause because you're so motivated for coming here, traveling from wherever you're coming from. And now let's tune it up a bit and let's give one for Vince. Let's go, guys. Thanks very much. That's all you got? Let's go. Good stuff. Awesome. Thanks, guys. We all have to be so grateful for what he's done. The guy's got such an awesome passion, and that's why him and I hit it off right from day one. I'm appreciative and grateful for anyone who's passionate about anything in life. You can do anything, do it well. Don't do something half-assed, it's got your name behind it. And that's why Vince and I hit it off from day one is no matter what he does, whether it be running, training for a show, his products, he does it to the best of his ability. He seeks out the people who are the best. And he's good at what he does. If you guys want to be successful in anything you do, leave it all out there. Leave it all in the field, as they say. Give it what you got. And as he speaks to is don't spread yourself so thin that you're wearing yourself thin. Just focus on one goal at a time, or a couple goals at a time, and give it your all. Awesome training events for the World Championships this year, because literally the first show we had, I don't know if you guys have heard, we had our little, there was times when he doubted. He's like, well, why am I doing this? And every time he would have a question, I'd be able to turn around and give him a long-winded scientific explanation and go, Vince, don't think, just do it. As you're getting ready for a show, everybody knows you're tired, you're depleted, you're really undernourished, you're probably not sleeping enough, especially if you have to work a full-time job as he does. So your brain isn't functioning optimally, so that's why it helps to have someone guide you step by step. His products are awesome. Takes you literally point A to point Z and everywhere in between. So it just takes the thought out of it, and that's what I tried to do for Vince for his first contest. And once we got him there, he really started to buy into what I had to say. And then training one-on-one with him, we transformed his body in literally a matter of weeks, because a lot of things he's doing out of habit. Your body obviously naturally is going to kind of resort back to what your strengths are. It's going to always try to dominate your strengths, and your weaknesses are going to lag behind. Your body's always going to try to make things easier for itself. So with Vince, he had a lot of strengths and a lot of weaknesses. So what we tried to do was just balance out his body. And we did such a great job, and I'm so proud of what he did, and put on, I don't even know how much weight and actual muscle, and maybe 15 pounds in less than a year. Like, a lot of weight, maybe more, you tell me, Vince.
Definitely bigger, yeah.
Probably, yeah, he did awesome just because he was committed. Anything that I said to do, he did, and he didn't question it. He just went out and did it to the best of his ability. Even to train in the gym was such a pleasure to train him, because he just would put his mind somewhere and do exactly what I said, and it was awesome. The results were amazing, and we'll continue to get better every year, because obviously it takes time for your body to adapt to anything you do, right? Typically every training program, we would change his training programs every 6 weeks or so, because it takes about 6 weeks for your body to adapt to any training program. So, Vince was an awesome pleasure to train. And then we had our little run-ins and our head-butting, because, when you question what I'm doing, or sometimes he was busy and he changed it, and he'd go, oh, I did this instead, and I'm like, no, did I tell you to do that? Don't do that. So, then we had our little run-ins. But every time there was a question, he doubted something, I'd always be able to explain it to him scientifically, which is something I want you guys to understand. Is one of the points in the presentation here is simply, anytime you pick up information from somebody, no matter if it be, one of the guys here, one of the guys in your gym, one of the pro bodybuilders, one of whomever, they have to be able to explain why. Don't just go, oh, I do this because it works for me. Bullshit. Bottom line, I don't want to hear this works for you, or this works for Branch Warren, he's got great legs, or this works for whomever, Ronnie Coleman. Genetic freaks, their capacity to contract their muscle is way beyond yours and mine. So you need to be able to optimize everything you do in the gym to really get the results. I mean, one thing that Vince and I have had a little chuckle about is people look at me and they go, wow, he's genetically gifted, he's taking performance enhancing, whatever. The fact of the matter is, my genetics are absolutely terrible. If you guys saw the people in my family, nobody works out. Everybody's fat. It's either fat or really skinny. Nobody's ever been in the gym. Everybody is not even health conscious. And to overcome that myth has been a lot for me, because since as Vince says, when I was in university, I started becoming a bigger guy. I love to train heavy. So overcoming that stereotype of being that big meathead was always something that I loved. I took it as a challenge. Every time I walked in the room, whether it was for a job interview at the time, or whether it was for a class, or meeting, going on a date, meeting a girl, you have to overcome that stereotype first and foremost. So for me, it's always been a challenge. I enjoy it. I enjoy, going up to someone, having these assumptions in the back of their brain about me, and me going, this is really me, right? I'll show you what I got. I'll talk circles around you when it comes to training and nutrition. So I take a passion in it. I love it. I've taken more certifications than I care to mention, a lot of which are crap and a lot of which are excellent. If you guys have any questions about which ones, let me know, and I'll be happy to answer your questions about that. Vince asked me to speak about the most common myths holding you guys back from achieving your goals, your physique goals. So this list could go on and on and on, and I didn't want to water it down, so I kept it pretty simple. I kept it to 12. And these are a lot of things that Vince and I encountered together. These are a lot of things I encounter on my own with clients, and things I just see in general in life that people that are holding them back from achieving their goals. So first one, these are in no particular order. I put them in there as I saw, kind of ran well together. The first and foremost, as Vince spoke to in his introductory statement, was lack of a clear goal. If you don't know where you're going, how are you going to get there, right? If you're driving a car and you don't know where you're going, you're not going to get to it. You might get somewhere, but you're not going to get where you want to go. That's the analogy I like to give is, you got to know where you're going in order to achieve a goal. So as far as training goes, what's your name? Tom. Tom has a different training goal than I do. So Tom may be trying to put on some muscle. Tom may be trying to get faster. Tom may be trying to train for a specific sport. So if I'm going in the gym and I'm just a beginner and I watch Tom train, I had no idea what he's training for. So I'm going in there and I'm trying to pick up, I'm going to watch. Tom's got a great physique. So I'm going to, I want to train like him. I want to do what he does. Truthfully, guys, if you don't know what he's training for, training like him makes absolutely no sense. So if you know what your specific goals are, now that we can go and find someone with specific goals that are similar to yours, very, very important. So all of you in here have very similar goals to what Vince has, or what Vince had at one time. Great person. You guys have all shown that, taking the initiative to seek out someone who's doing what you ultimately want to do, which is amazing. You're on the right track. You guys are on the right track for success. Again, keeping a training partner with the same goals, great idea. If you have a training partner, I've had training partners in my life who are pro football players, but it's all specific. Everything I do has a specific goal. If I'm trying to make my legs stronger, who do you want to train with? An endurance athlete? Probably not, right? So I know my thing is identify your goals and then what it's going to take to get to that goal. So in university, I had the goal of having strong legs. I usually, as much as he says I was a strong guy in university, I probably only trained 2 days a week because I was so busy with class. So I would always specifically train legs and back. 2 biggest body parts. There's a reason for that. Hormonally, that's going to be the best way for your body to grow overall. Even if you're not training your chest and your arms, your biceps, the rest of your body will continue to grow because of hormones. So, I'm doing squats, I'm doing heavy deadlifts. Hormonally, that's going to cause the greatest release of growth hormone, growth factors, things like this. So that, even if you are only able to train twice that week, you're going to get the greatest result of that small amount of time. So I would train with people like football players, the biggest, strongest guys, because I was trying to get stronger. I was trying to stay strong and get these great, heavy workouts so that I get this great amount of growth hormone and growth factor release. So it was a specific goal. If I'm trying to train for abs, I'll find someone who's trying to train for, look like a fitness model. And you guys if that's what your goal is, that's awesome. Another thing I want to speak about briefly is overcoming the idea. I guess Vince had to overcome this as well. He was trying to build muscle, but he doesn't want to look like me. Right? A lot of you guys don't want to look like me. I understand that. I appreciate that. When I started, I didn't want to look like me either. Fact, no joke. When I was like, I just want to be like 220 pounds and shred it. And then I got there and I was like, no, keep going, And then I was like, okay, I just want to be like 240 and shred it. And I got there and I was like, no, not ready. I'll get to whenever I feel like I've completed my task is when I'll stop. I'm not, one thing that I guess Vince spoke about in the beginning is task completion. I'm at this point in my bodybuilding career now where the doors are opening for me in life. I've got a lot of opportunities in business. I've got a lot of opportunities in speaking and fitness, writing books, things like this, creating programs. But I have this something in the back of my brain just won't let me quit before I achieve my goal of becoming the best in the world in bodybuilding. And that's just the task completion in me, Like everything you do, from the smallest menial task of scrubbing your toilets to, the biggest task of, finishing university or whatever it may be, just finish it. Whatever you start, even if it's so inconsequential to your life, it just creates character, So that's where I am right now with my life is all these great opportunities, writing books and et cetera, but I'm really trying to focus on my bodybuilding career and spend another 3 or 4 years getting to be the best, and then, the world is your oyster beyond that. So the point of what I'm saying is set your goals, stop at nothing until you achieve it. Again, speaking to what Vince said, writing down your goals. Never trust your brain, guys. The truth of the matter is there's a lot of information going in your brain, especially with the way technology is these days. You're getting so much information overload. Don't trust your brain to remember these things. Specifics is very important. Be very, very specific on your goal. The more specific you are, the more likely you are to attain it. It's like it's laser vision, right? If I know exactly where I'm going, I'll get there. Things are always going to try to nudge you off track. There's always going to be that girl or that party or, that boy, whatever you guys, we got some women in the room, come on. So there's always going to be things that sidetrack you, So as long as you have laser vision on that goal, it'll help you make the decisions in life. So if I know that I want to be successful in bodybuilding, from the time that I was 16 years old, I didn't go to party. I didn't go out because I knew I wanted to be successful. I knew that if, here's a story for you. I went to our last year high school. I was a popular guy, was in good shape, fit, abs, athlete. So I had this girl ask me to the prom. The girl's going to hate me for this one. I had this girl ask me to the prom, beautiful girl. I was like, yeah, sure, no problem. So she's like, okay, well, I'm going to buy your ticket, I'm going to buy your tux, and pay for the limo. I'm like, okay. So I was like, cool, sounds good. Yeah. And at the time, I was obviously not training for contests, but I was committed to what I was doing. I wanted to be better, and the prom happened to fall on a Friday, and Saturday happened to be leg day. So I didn't realize, my coach just gave me a new program. Yes, I had a coach at 18. My coach just gave me a new program, so the Saturday, the day after the prom, happened to be leg day. I always train legs at 9 a.m., so I had to cancel on the prom. It was, only the athletes in the room will appreciate that. The girls will hate me, but the fact of the matter is I had a goal, and that prom wasn't helping me achieve my goal. As much as that's an extreme circumstance, I don't suggest you missing your wedding or your prom or anything like that. It's just giving you an idea of when I had a goal, I knew that this wasn't going to contribute directly to my goal, so I didn't do it, right? So an easy way, guys, for you to, if you're kind of stumbling in life and being like, well, I don't know if I should do this or do this. If you have your goals in front of you, it could be a list of 100 goals. You go, okay, well, let's review my 100 goals. Is this going to contribute to any one of those goals? No, then I'm not going to do it, okay? So very, very important things. The final point on this one, do not watch others and judge. We all go in the gym and go, what is this guy doing? You see guys doing some ridiculous things in the gym and look like they're going to hurt themselves. There's some things in the gym that you may see me do that you're like, what the hell is that? What's the point of that? And there's so many factors you have to consider that what I'm here to do is to teach you guys to be thinking men in the gym and in life. So everything you do, you make a logical assessment and make sure it's working toward your goal. So you may see someone doing something in the gym, and there's a very specific reason they're doing it. It may be an injury. It may be, maybe they're trying to achieve a very specific strength in a very specific range of motion, and there could be a reason for that. So never make an assessment of what someone is doing without having prior knowledge. So, I can go in the gym and see the biggest guy with my role model, I guess, in current bodybuilding is Jay Cutler, but I watch him train and I'm like, man, I could train this guy and make him so much better. And it sounds ridiculous, and it sounds arrogant, but I've studied the body so much. His training's a disaster, but his capacity to contract his muscle in his brain is better than anybody else in the world. Same with Ronnie Coleman. I don't know if you guys know these names. Top 2 bodybuilders in the world. Ronnie Coleman's retired now, but their capacity to contract the muscle. They could literally sit on the toilet and build their legs because their nervous system is so trained. These guys have been doing it since they're 12 years old, and their mental capacity to contract their muscle is ridiculous. So their ability to grow in these ridiculously small range of motion is way better than yours and mine. So you got to consider that. I'm going to watch Branch Warren and Jay Cutler do their leg workouts and be like, oh, wow, that must be what I have to do. No, because you know what? You're going to consider it. There's so many factors behind what they're doing. Maybe they're doing it for a specific reason. Maybe they got a knee injury. Maybe there's some reason why they're doing it. So I'm here to teach you guys to make informed, intelligent decisions about everything you do in your life when it comes to nutrition, when it comes to training. Okay, so that's kind of, if you guys get that in the back of your head, every decision I make in my life, when it comes to training and nutrition, there's a reason behind it. It's not just, oh, well, this guy did this, so I want to look like him, so I'm going to do it. No. There's a reason for everything. If you have a goal, if you have a specific outcome that you're trying to achieve, that's what we're going to do. Okay, so I guess that kind of is a good segue into the next slide. Not using a proper range of motion. That's one thing that definitely holds people back. The reason for that, in my opinion, is people don't know what a proper range of motion is. And that's not to your fault. That's because there's a lack of knowledge. The only reason I found it was by accident. I happened to study biomechanics a lot in school, and I sought it out. And since I was, a university student, I would watch X bodybuilder train and Y bodybuilder train. These things completely different, yet they were both huge. I'm like, okay, well, what's right and what's wrong? And there is, believe it or not, a biomechanical 100% irrefutable way to do things in the gym through a proper range of motion for each muscle, but you got to know what that is. It's not always easy to identify. So, I asked someone, Tom, you just have it right there, I know your name. Can you tell me what the proper range of motion for a bicep is? What a full range of motion for a bicep is? Can somebody stand up who knows what the proper range of motion for, you scratch your head so you win. Stand up. Tell me what the proper range of motion for a bicep is.
Shoulder extension, elbow flexion.
Cool, that's pretty good. So Anthony, that's actually, he got half of it right, which is better than most people. Okay, so a fully extended bicep is actually extended shoulder, and it's internally rotated. So this would be the starting of a range of motion for bicep. Now, Anthony said for the shortened end, so this is an extended bicep, fully extended, fully lengthened. Now, the fully shortened, Anthony said, was just elbow flexion, when in reality, it's actually elbow flexion and shoulder extension. So has anybody ever done a bicep exercise back here? Not really, right? But that's in reality a maximally shortened bicep. Does anybody do that in the gym? Is it possible to do that in one exercise? Probably not. Most people don't know that. Is it possible to do that within an entire workout? Absolutely. I can do cables back here, and I can certainly do either cables or dumbbells back here on a seated bench. So is it possible to achieve full range of motion in a given workout? Yes. You need to know what that is first. So finding the proper knowledge, finding the proper people to learn from is important. So these types of things are what's going to help you make the decisions in the gym, like, hey, am I doing this exercise right? So what's the proper movement for a back? I don't know. What's a fully shortened lat? Don't know. Then I can't do the exercise. See, this may be slightly beyond the scope of what you guys are trying to understand, but I just want you to understand that educated decisions in everything you do. So move on from there. And again, if you guys have specific questions about any body parts, any range of motion, write it down. I'll tell you at the end. And I don't even know all of them. Some of these muscles, like rotator cuff and stuff, are very difficult. But the main, I call them the physique muscles. Easy, no problem. That's what I've mastered because that's what I do. Like what Vince talked about is don't stretch yourself thin. I'm very good at one thing, and I'm going to continue to do that. I'm very good at changing the physique. I can look at anyone's body. I literally believe I could take any one of you guys in here and make you Mr. Olympia. Not that you want to do that, but I really believe. No joke. Genetic shortcomings aside, most people have the capacity to, at least I could take your physique and make it the best it possibly could be. I could bring up, the smallest aspect of any muscle as long as there's not some genetic thing that is holding you back. Because of knowing muscle mechanics, biomechanics, knowing proper muscle composition, which is another one in here. It's important, important factors in deciding what you would do and how you would train. And I could literally take anyone and transform your physique like that if I had the ability to work one-on-one. So, okay, so there's another one, the last point there. A fully stretched or extended muscle often involves contracting its antagonist. Now, a lot of you guys may or may not do this. It's a little more of an advanced technique, but it's definitely something you all should strive for. When you're trying to get a fully extended muscle, it's often important to contract its antagonist. So what does that mean? Antagonist is its opposite. Okay, so if I'm trying to get a fully lengthened bicep, so in a bicep curl and I'm back here somewhere, I might actually contract my tricep. Possibly could put you into a slightly unsafe position, but as long as we're in control, which we are always in control in everything we do, right? Then you're not going to hurt yourself. As if it's slamming into things, bad. But if you're controlled, there's no extra tension on the joint. I guess we spoke about this as well, learning from the wrong people. This industry, guys, is an absolute, the blind leading the blind is so rampant that it's absolutely ridiculous. So people are watching these YouTube videos of people that have no clue what they're doing and following it. So you guys have done a great thing by seeking out someone like Vince, who has a passion and seeks out people who, Vince is great at what he does, and he's got 4 or 5 people around him that are each great at what they do. And it's Vince's mastermind concept, right? So if you want to be great at something, you only have enough hours in the day to learn about a certain amount of things. But if you have you guys at your group here, you've got 5 guys at your table, if all of your brains are working on an individual task, and you put it all together, how much more work can you get done? You're gonna isolate what everyone needs to know and share it. So important, right? Learn from the people who know what they're talking about, and then share it with people. That's essentially all I do. That's all Vince does. Is, I'm going to seek out the people who are the best in the world. That's what I've done from day one. It's like I was 18 years old. I was just some little scrawny kid, and people are like, "Who's this guy? Who does he think he is?" Talking to, whomever, brilliant scientist guy, trainer. That's just what I love to do. So I literally seek out these people with my ears open and my mouth shut, and just be like, ask questions. So do your best. The fact that you're here tells me that you're educated people. You're trying to make an educated decision. Seek out the best, which you guys are on the right track. Continue to do it. It's all just about making an educated decision. Okay, and we spoke about these briefly already as well. See how these things all kind of tie in. As far as blind leading the blind, you don't know what people are doing. You don't know what their goal is. So they could be training for injuries. Could be strength versus size. It's a different type of training. I may be training at 3 to 6 reps because I'm trying to get strong, or I may be training in 8 to 12 because I'm trying to get bigger. depending what you're trying to do, you're going to make an educated decision. Next one. Very, very important, guys. The single most important factor, probably highly neglected, and there's a reason why there's enormous water jugs on your table. It's the number one and most important factor contributing to your performance or deterring from your performance is water. People neglect how important that is. Now, when I say water, that doesn't mean fluid, okay? Water has so many beneficial functions in your body: detoxing, flushing, hydration. If you're drinking other fluids that are colored or something in them, it's not the same function as water. So ideally, we say we're trying to take in, 8 glasses is not enough for anyone, especially in the summertime, doing any athletic performance. You're burning through a lot of water. So make it a point, guys, to make sure you hydrate. As it says here, a performance decrease is shown with as little as 2% dehydration. Now, how little is that? I mean, that could be the difference between, staying safe and hurting yourself that day and achieving your personal best. The slightest little thing. So one thing that I say is I start my day every day, and this is another slide later on, is I start my day every day with hydration and alkalinizing. So those are the 2 most important things for me. As Vince says in the morning, when are you most motivated, when are you most likely to be successful? Start your day with the things that are most important to you. So for me, as someone trying to be a champion bodybuilder, such simple things you can do. Start the morning hydrating and alkalizing your body. And the easiest way to alkalize, I've got it later in the slides, but I'll either have a greens drink or some lemon water, which will alkalize your body. So simple. But it will improve your performance, improve the way your body uses nutrients, improve your recovery, improve protein synthesis, so many things. These small little factors that make this much of a difference. So, and again, hydrated muscles are bigger, stronger. You get a better pump, faster recovery, less toxin buildup. Water is obviously going to help to flush. As you train, you're building up toxins, lactic acid. It's going to flush that out. Decreased delayed onset muscle syndrome. Decreased soreness after a workout just because you're hydrated. If you're not hydrated, you're going to be more sore. It's going to take you longer to recover before you can get back in the gym again. So, and I guess the most important one, guys, is if you have a goal, you can't train toward that goal if you're injured. So anything you can do to avoid injury and decrease inflammation, drink enough water, these are important, because if I have a goal of being the best or of being, a physique athlete or a pro fitness model, and I'm not able to train because I'm injured because of something stupid that I did, I went out drinking Friday night and then I decided to go train chest on Saturday and hurt my pec, I can't achieve my goal, right? So these are things you got to consider. Next one, important one for me, which I think I made Vince a believer, neglecting greens and fiber, extremely, extremely important. The one thing that I try to preach to all of my clients and followers and whomever, just everyone I come in contact with, is your body, my goal is to be bigger. Your goal is likely to be bigger too. So people have this concept of more protein, more protein, more protein, more food. But you got to remember, your body is one whole organism, guys. It functions as a whole. If one thing's not working, you're only as strong as your weakest link, right? If one thing's not working, nothing else can be working optimally either. So if you want to get the most out of your body, you got to consider these little things that most bodybuilders or people aspiring to be fitness athletes neglect. I'm more likely to go out and spend money on pre-workout NO2 caffeine product than I am go to spend on a greens product. When I'll tell you from experience and science and fact, you're going to get way more benefit out of growing out of physique benefit from a greens product or a fiber product. You'll have more energy, your body will synthesize more protein, you're going to sleep better, your adrenals will work better, your whole body's going to work better. It doesn't sound like it makes sense because you guys are so bombarded with this marketing about pre-workout this and NO2 this, and that stuff is great. But if you don't have the basics in place, it's not going to work for you. It's like trying to put Formula One gas into a Pinto engine. It's just not going to work, right? Okay, so the obvious benefits here are stated. For greens, if you're going to neutralize toxins, remove waste products, fiber is a great way to get rid of free radicals. Free radicals float around in your digestive tract. Taking in fiber is absolutely necessary. So fiber is so simple, guys. You can take a fiber supplement. I don't recommend it for most people. Just eat some greens. A great way to get greens that I've started doing, and it's so easy to get it, is I'll buy like those big packages of spinach, organic spinach, and I'll throw it in my shakes. You don't taste it as long as you blend it enough. It's not chunky, and you get a great alkalizing benefit. So go out and pick up some. It literally has no flavor if you put it into your shakes. Blend it up. I put some frozen berries in there. You'll never know it's there. alkalizing, fiber, so easy to do, great benefit for you. Okay, number 6, again, as I say, all tying in, detoxing. The world we live in, guys, is so processed. Human beings have evolved from, being these primitive, very simple organisms, right? So we're supposed to eat meat and vegetables, and really that's it. But the world is so bombarded with processed foods and goods and pollutants and toxins and whatever that now your body systems are bombarded with things that it's not used to having. So it's constantly trying to clear it. It's constantly trying to detox. And if you're not supporting that process, again, you're not going to have an optimal functioning body system. It's just, as I say, everything works as a whole. So I want you guys to think logically, apply everything to the organism working as a whole. I've listed some really, really simple foods that you can add in for detox. It's on the second slide. I'm going to flip the slide. Lemons, like I said, are awesome for alkalizing, detoxing. Grapefruits, apples, berries, spinach, kale. All these things are really, really simple. My suggestion to most of my clients is just try to add in 2 new ones every day. Obviously, each one's going to have a different function. Everyone's going to do something a little bit different. Just try to add 2 in every day or every other day. Buy a little bit, lasts for 2 days, just buy something else. It's really easy. Just, if anything, throw it in your shakes. I wouldn't suggest throwing like kale or Swiss chard in your shakes. It tastes like shit. But everything else is pretty simple. Throw it in there, blend it up. Like literally, you don't even taste it. I know for a lot of young guys, it's not the easiest thing or not the thing you want to do is be cooking vegetables all the time. I know I hate doing it. So until you're willing to do it or you have someone to help you do it, just toss in your shakes. Buy yourself a good greens product. Vince and I are advocates of. I think I introduced them to Living Fuel. Amazing product. Tastes. It's kind of sweet. It's very, very thick, very rich. It's fill you up. But the thing is unbelievable. A lot of these green products today are great. Most of them, are pretty standard. Okay, so the only point there that I didn't touch on is what you're trying to do with these, adding these foods in is just support your body's own natural detox mechanisms. It's not like we're trying to these foods specifically detox. Your body has a specific mechanism. Your liver's going to pull, your cells have to detox, and your liver's going to pull things out, and then it's going to be eliminated. You're just trying to support each system. It's kind of a 3-step process, trying to support each system. That's why I suggest changing it every couple days. Here's another one that I'm sure many of you are guilty of. I know I was. When I started, I had a coach, and he said, well, you're 160 pounds. My story is I was 16 years old, and I was a long-distance runner like Vince, and he laughs when he hears that. But I was 160 pounds and trying to get bigger for sports, baseball, football, hockey. And I wanted to get faster, so I hired a coach. And I loved bodybuilding, but I just really wanted to do it for sports. And the coach said, okay, well, what we're going to do is we're going to try to get you to eat as much as possible. Whenever you can eat something, eat peanut butter. I'm like, okay. So I put on 60 pounds in my first 9 months. Wasn't all good weight, but I put on weight. And looking back at it, if I could do it differently, sure, great. Put on 60 pounds, sounds good, feels good, it's good for ego. But as far as building muscle, there's a lot more efficient, appropriate ways to do it. One of the key points that I have on here that you guys need to understand is every single thing you put in your body requires vitamins, minerals, enzymes, coenzymes to break it down and digest it. So, if you guys don't know what you hear enzymes and coenzymes, what do they do? Coenzyme Q10, what does it do? It aids and assists in digestion. So if I eat something like a McDonald's Happy Meal, there's no vitamins in there. So really, nothing, right? We all know that. Or something like a chocolate bar or X, whatever it is. That requires vitamins, coenzymes, enzymes to break it down. Okay? If those aren't there, where are they going to come from? They have to be there to be broken down. Where do they come from? Your body's going to pull it from somewhere, right? It's going to pull it from bones. It's going to pull it from the muscles. It's going to pull it from somewhere. So essentially, by eating this food, you're actually breaking down your body. You're pulling essential nutrients out of the muscles where they're needed to break down these crappy foods you just put in. That's a great way to drill it home to you guys. Is like, if you're not putting in these nutrients, they're coming from somewhere. So you're going to actually detract from your performance. It's not to say that it's not that you never want to eat these foods, because sometimes extra calorie foods are good, but again, it's dictated by where you are, what you're trying to achieve. Have I been kind of behind on calories today because I was a little busy? Sure, okay, make it up a little bit, but don't do it consistently. Consistently we want to eat healthy foods. A lot of people in the fitness industry are promoting, or at least I promote, is the 80-20 diet. I try to eat 80% clean and healthy Or I try to eat 80% of the time clean and healthy, and 20% of the time I eat what I want in the off season. So something to think about. Next slide. Neglecting your current settings. That may be a term that you guys hear me use a lot, and it sounds more complicated than it is. It's really simple. It's just where I am right now. What exactly is my settings right now? How many meals have I had today? How many meals have I had yesterday? Did I go out drinking last night? These are things, not that I'm a big drinker, I don't use that as an example, but I'm sure a lot of you guys drink. That's going to affect what I do today, what I do in the gym. Should I be drinking more water? I'm trying to get my body to its most optimal place. And unless you're assessing my current status, how am I supposed to know what I should do next? So, for example, I got into town on Wednesday to help Vince for his show. Crazy busy, driving around a lot. I've been getting 3 meals a day maximum. Should I be going in and doing a maximum squat today? Probably not. In the last 24 hours, I've probably had 3 liters of water. Should I be going and doing a maximum bench press? Probably not. So it's just a matter of assessing where you are now. Great, you want to follow and stick to your program as much as possible. Sometimes, as I said to Vince, life gets in the way. How do you get yourself back on track? Well, as long as I have a goal, I know what my goal is, I go, okay, what needs to happen for me to get back on track for this goal? So I know for myself, when I'm training for a contest, I don't let anything sidetrack me from my goals. Sometimes in the off season where I am now, life gets in the way. You have to fulfill your obligations. I can't eat every 2 hours. It's not possible. I'm on the road, I'm traveling, I'm coming from the US, you're not allowed to carry food. You do what you can, you make the most of it, So always consider current settings. So the slide should explain it for you. Okay, so the current settings, the reasons for protein intake. So if I'm an example, we'll use me as an example again. I got here Wednesday. Today being Monday, I've trained twice. Is my protein requirement the same as if I'm training twice a day, which is what normally it is? It's not. So can I give you a specific answer? How much protein should I be eating every day? When you ask, I get people email me every day. How much protein should I eat? I want to get lean. How much carbs should I eat? How do I know? How much cardio are you doing? How active is your job? How often are you training? Things like this. All I'm trying to teach you guys is everything in life requires an educated decision based on current settings. So if I'm training twice a day, sometimes 3 times a day, what Vince was doing, where's my protein requirement? Way up. If I'm training once every 2-3 days, where's my protein requirement? It's down. So is there a specific formula? Like a can't miss, this is what you do all the time, guys, no matter what you say. No. Sure, there is a certain amount of protein your body's going to burn through in a day. So this is why you hear people saying, do I need 1 pound per kilo? Do I need 1 pound or 1 gram per kilo, 1 gram per pound? It's different. It depends. So these are things that you want to consider and get to know your own body. If I'm really, really sore after training, chances are I didn't eat enough protein, or I didn't eat enough carbs and protein immediately after my workout. Or maybe I'm not hydrated enough. These are things, what factor is missing? So I'm trying to teach you guys, educate, know how to assess my body toward my specific goals and guide myself toward my specific goals. Reasons for increased carbohydrate intake. Really, really simple. Carbs and cortisol. You guys know what cortisol is? Cortisol is known as being like the evil hormone in the body to a lot of people. In reality, it has a lot of good functions too, but as far as bodybuilding goes, more or less you want to keep your cortisol under control. Cortisol helps to control pain, which is a good thing, but it also helps to break down or encourages muscle breakdown. So carbohydrates, if you find your cortisol levels are up, carbohydrates will actually bring it down somewhat. It's a bit of a complicated thing, but if you find you're stressed, sometimes more fat and more nutrients are necessary. More fats, more carbohydrates. Slide number 9. The 1980s and 90s, we were bombarded, not that we were all around then, but we were bombarded with the mentality of fats are bad, fats make you fat. Not true. Fats can make you fat if you're taking the wrong kinds, but so can carbohydrates. So again, it's determining what you need. Fats are absolutely necessary for a lot of metabolic functions, for stress, for hormone production, testosterone production, and guys, it's really important. So don't neglect these things. People that put you on an extremely low-fat diet, your body will actually shut down its metabolism. Your body starts to shut down as far as priority these metabolic processes. So this process isn't that important. We're going to shut it down. We're going to shut it down. We're going to shut it down because these calories aren't there, you start shutting down those metabolic processes, you're burning less calories. So that's why it's finding that balance between eating the right amount of carbs and the right amount of fats. They're a very important one, mood regulating properties for fats. You find yourself getting stressed out, moody, depressed. A lot of times fats can actually help that if you're taking the right ones, essential fatty acids and omega-3s. Omega-3s are also very anti-inflammatory. That's one of the biggest culprits in our society today is over-inflammation. People are chronically inflamed. That's one of the biggest, that's arthritis. Arthritis, anything that ends in itis is inflammation, right? So arthritis, arteriosclerosis, things like this, like inflamed arteries, it's all inflammation. So if we can decrease inflammation, which fats directly do, definitely a huge benefit. This is something that this is kind of a long slide, which I'm going to have to skim over because of time, but something that I preach about to a lot of people. So I put quite a bit of information in there. Adrenal fatigue. Our society is so reliant on stimulants, whether it be caffeine, tobacco, drugs, alcohol, things like this, which all act to suppress your adrenal glands. Not good for performance, function. You find you can't sleep at night, things like this. It probably means there's something wrong with your adrenal glands. It could be suppressed. So learning to support your adrenal glands, which I think I put a bunch of stuff there at the bottom. It's on the next slide. Suggestions to support your adrenals to help them recover. Whenever possible, we try to avoid stimulants. Get a regular sleep pattern. Your adrenals have direct control over cortisol, sleep-wake cycles, things like that. So important. If you get a minute, read over that slide. It's really important stuff. 11. This one's a huge one for me. So I made sure I put it on there. Ignoring food allergies. As a pro bodybuilder, I'm guessing you guys can make a strong or a good assessment of what my foods consist of, right? Pretty easy. I eat a lot of chicken, I eat a lot of beef, I eat a lot of egg whites, I eat a lot of sweet potatoes, whey protein. I've recently found out within the last 12 months that I'm actually allergic or have strong sensitivities to egg whites, whey protein, and gluten. So gluten is anything with wheat, oftentimes oatmeal. So not a good thing, right? And now why this is not a good thing. When you ingest these foods, it's actually causing an allergic reaction inside your body. You may not see it. Sometimes you eat something, you kind of mucousy, you kind of feel like it's kind of in your throat or in your nose. Probably an allergy. A lot of times it happens with people with milk, with whey protein, things like that. It's an allergy sensitivity. So what happens is your body senses these allergies, and it causes an inflammatory reaction. So your body starts to release cortisol, your insides are becoming inflamed. So what's going to happen when cortisol goes up, body fat goes up, performance goes down, muscle goes down. Important things, and I had no idea. I'm like, man, why is my body doing this, and why is my body doing that? And I'm trying to figure it out, being like a thoughtful person. I'm always trying to figure out, well, how do I make this better, and how do I fix this? And your body's fighting against you, because you're taking your body, your coach says you need to eat oatmeal, you need to eat egg whites, you need to eat protein, but my body's working against me. So really important thing, guys, is try to figure out what your body is sensitive to or allergic to. A lot of times, the easiest way to do that, like I eat whey protein, I know. I get this tightness in my chest, it feels like somebody's sitting on my chest. Clearly, I'm allergic to that. Easiest way to assess it is get a test done, or just look for like mucus, look for getting sleepy after you eat it, things like that. Those are really, really simple. Proteins proteins are the allergens. So if there's something that has no protein in it, it's not an allergen. It's impossible. So things like rice, hypoallergenic, can't be allergic to it. Whereas something like a sweet potato has a little bit of protein in it, you could actually be allergic to the protein in the sweet potato. You could be allergic to chicken. A lot of bodybuilders and athletes don't know when they're allergic to their protein sources. So I highly suggest rotating your protein source. I'll actually, with Vince, for the last 4 weeks, I switched him to basically all fish. He's like, man, what's up with all those fish? I hate fish. I'm like, dude, you've been eating chicken for the last 3 months. Chances are you're allergic to it. Your body's never going to get in shape. He was holding a little bit of fat right here. He's like, why am I holding fat in my lower stomach? Cortisol's up because he has an allergy to the food he's eating. Really simple. So we switched to fish, body fat dropped. Simple. Number 12. This is a huge one, guys, and I can't overemphasize this. It's so simple, but so many people neglect it, especially people who think they're going to put on body fat. Missing the window, neglecting the window. Now, the window is that 45-minute period after your workout. So I get a lot of people that come to me and go, I don't eat carbs after my workout because I'm really carb sensitive, so I don't think it's a good time for me to eat it. let me tell you, if you're not eating carbs after your workout and you're carb sensitive, you're going to be more carb sensitive or carb resistant. Meaning, when I say carb resistant, meaning your body doesn't use carbs. If you don't take in carbohydrates after your workout, it actually makes your body use carbohydrates worse long term. So taking in some amount of carbohydrate post-workout is absolutely essential, even during the workout. Taking in protein with it helps your body use the sugar even better. So these are things that are really, really important. Your body uses nutrients at least 30% greater, likely more, after a workout. The window after a workout is about 4 hours for improved nutrient utilization. Maximal is within 45 minutes of a workout. So if we can increase nutrient consumption in that period, like with Vince, most of his carbohydrates came either before, during, and after the workout. The rest of the day, your body doesn't really require carbohydrates, right? As long as you're not doing something physically active, you're not burning it. It's in your muscles. So as long as you're replenishing before, during, and after your workout, it's there. So if I'm sitting on my butt working at a computer, oh, should I eat carbs with this meal? You don't need it. You use, again, assess your current settings. What am I doing right now? Do I need these nutrients? For me, a lot of my day is spent at my computer, working, writing, reading. I only really need carbs to fuel my workout. If I replenish the carbs immediately after the workout to a great extent, it's going to still be there for the next workout. It's not going anywhere. Then you're more likely to consider something like water, which is going to deter from your performance. Make sense? Clear as mud? Okay, so a couple quick bonus points. So like I said, there's so many of these to consider. First one was cardio, training frequency, cheat days, neglecting minerals. These are all, I get a lot of questions about these. How much cardio, what type is the best? Current settings. If you're trying to lose body fat, it's pretty irrefutable that high intensity intervals are the best. Even doing something short duration, just full intensity. I think a lot of times we got Vince doing like a 20-minute, just, pardon my French, balls out workout where he was doing sprints, lunges, and walking, alternating back and forth for 20 minutes. You're going to lose body fat really quickly. High intensity stuff is going to burn more fat long term. So you may, in a cardio workout, you may burn more fat right now. I may burn a greater percentage of fat in a 40-minute cardio workout, but as far as burning more fat long term, irrefutable that a short-term workout, higher intensity, is going to burn more fat long term. Again, there's another question. How many days between workouts is best? Depends on how well you're recovering. It depends on your protein intake, your water. Assess it yourself. Should I be training with this body part every 7 days, every 10 days, every 5 days? Just a quick point for you. Small body parts recover faster than big body parts, so you can actually train them more frequently. So, people that can train arms probably every 3 to 4 days, whereas you can only train back and legs every 5 to 7 days. Just an easy little tidbit for you. Cheat days, to do them or not to do them. I'm not a big fan of cheat days. I think it's overkill. But cheat meals, now when I say cheat, it just means high carbohydrate. The only thing you're trying to achieve with a cheat day meal is to stimulate your thyroid. And that happens by increased insulin levels over a slightly prolonged period of time. It doesn't have to be a whole day. It doesn't have to be 24 hours. Small amount of time. And it doesn't have to be chocolate cake and pizza. It can simply be white rice in a larger amount, or fruit, or ideally healthy choices. So healthy choices work just as well as poor choices. It's just about increased insulin levels over a long period of time to stimulate your thyroid, which does actually work. It will actually speed up your metabolism, but it's just about increased insulin levels over 6 to 8 hours. That's it. Neglecting minerals, that one's easy. Zinc, magnesium, really, really important. Don't neglect those, really important, because as athletes, we burn through them. And again, guys, the next slide is just my website. If you have questions, fire me an email. My email is just ben@benpakulski.com. It's on that website. And I think Vince has mentioned briefly that I've got a program coming out. It's the next slide. It's pretty cool, man. Vince and I have designed it, and it's scientific. It works. Basically, we've taken every aspect of training and found a scientific way to make it optimal over a short period of time. So it's basically a 6-week kick-your-ass program that will put muscle on you, because we've considered every aspect of it scientifically. It literally covers everything over 6 weeks. It's pretty cool. Vince and I have been working on it for a few months now, so it's pretty sweet. Thanks, guys. Questions?
Hi, my name is Joel from Gatineau, Quebec. And at the start of your conference, you talked about range of motion. How do you work with somebody who's very tight around the hips to do when you do squats?
You don't.
Okay, so
No.
So and maybe the second part, what do you do for alternative?
Okay, yeah, great.
Yeah.
All right, this is a great question actually, and I get this all the time. And Vince was actually someone who his hips are very inflexible. If someone can't squat, do you just kind of shove them down to a squat? No, your brain is a lot smarter than you are. It says your brain is shutting down those muscles in there. So when I'm tight, your brain is actually restricting those muscles for a reason. Your brain's smarter than you are. Your brain knows your current settings. It's making those muscles tight because if they're loose, something else is going to get hurt. It may be something more important, a nerve, something, So don't shove someone into a position they're not supposed to be in. Don't put yourself into a position they're not supposed to be in. It hurts. There's a reason it hurts. Don't do it. One thing that is an important consideration, I guess, is he's asking what should you do in place of it. Active range of motion. So I speak of range of motion. Active range of motion means the range of motion you can achieve on your own, under your own free will. So without having a weight push you into that range of motion. I've had a client when I said, okay, his name was Andrew, not that would ever matter. I said, Andrew, okay, let's do shoulder press. He would go like this. I'm like, Andrew, put your hands above your head. I am. No joke. So what do you do if I'm trying to do a shoulder press with a dumbbell pushing in this direction? It doesn't work. The force is going this way. A dumbbell can only exert force in one direction, that's straight down. So if I'm not going like this, it's not working the right muscles. So what do? You make an assessment, and you actually, so what I would do is if you can only press in this plane, I would put them on an incline, so it'd be as close to a shoulder press as we can. For a squat, an active range of motion would be as high as someone goes, standing perfectly erect. I usually have them hold onto something, standing perfectly erect, and you simply just lift your leg. If I can go to here comfortably without going like this, then I can squat this deep, right? A lot of people, if you ask them to do that, they go like this. But that's as deep as they can squat, actively without hurting themselves, without wear and tear on the joint, right? So I'd only go to here. And eventually, maybe they will loosen up, maybe stretching, maybe some type of active therapy, but only stay within your range of motion your body's able to achieve on its own. So if I'm doing a deadlift, Vince was, again, sorry using an example, but we do deadlifts, and Vince would go to about here, and then he'd go, nyeh. So I'm only going to here with my hamstrings, and the rest of it's from my back. So again, I can only go that far with the deadlift. I'm only going to go that far with the deadlift, right? You have to go all the way down to the squat. Yeah, but if you can't actively achieve it, you're going to do more harm than good. So yes, you want to go that far down, but if your body can't do it on its own, wait until it's capable of doing it. So do something to make it better. Do something to actually heal it. Therapy, stretching, many, many things you guys can do.
Hi, I'm Patrick from the Netherlands. My question is, water intake is very good for you, but how about over water intake?
You're going to ask that. Good question.
Yeah, I saw the Stay Shredded DVD, and some guy was drinking 2 gallons of water during a workout.
Who was?
2 gallons of
Who
water.
was drinking that much?
Who
Matt.
are you training with?
Matt? That's a good question. So, is there such a thing as drinking too much water? Well, for sure. Your body has water-soluble vitamins. What does that mean? They dissolve in water. If you're flushing them too much, body's going to get rid of them. How much is too much? So many factors. The gentleman he's referring to, his name's Ryan. I actually train with him sometimes in Florida. Florida's 100 degrees every day, pretty humid. You're going to be sweating a lot. What does that do to your current settings? Water requirement goes up. So Ryan's water requirement may be different than Patrick's, who live in the Netherlands. Patrick may only require 4 to 5 liters a day. There's a calculation, which I don't remember right now. 4 to 5 liters a day, whereas Ryan may be consuming 8. Consuming it all during a workout, it's probably the best time to do it. But again, for optimal absorption, you'd space it out throughout the day. And again, if you're replacing those water-soluble vitamins, chances are you're fine. But I wouldn't suggest for any human being taking more than 8 to 9 liters a day. That's a lot. But, there's a specific calculation, which I don't know. If you guys email me, I'll give it to you. Yeah, no problem.
What does MI 140 mean, stand for?
What does it mean and what does it stand for? Good question. MI 40 is Mass Intentions 40. So mass intentions is just kind of a play on words. So meaning we're trying to grow. Everything is thoughtfully planned out. Like everything has intent. Intentions is a technique that I use. Many of you guys have maybe seen it with Vince's Live Large videos. Really, really simple way to put it is muscles communicate in terms of tension with each other. So a muscle doesn't, you all heard the saying, muscles don't know how much weight you're using. It's because they communicate in terms of tension. So if I can increase the amount of tension or torque going through a muscle without actually increasing the weight, it's actually going to be more beneficial to you. So intentions is a means of increasing the amount of tension in a muscle without using more weight. Does that make sense? So, using less weight, technically, will actually cause less wear and tear on the muscle, on the joint. It's going to be beneficial to you long term. So if I can use less weight, more tension, I'm actually going to end up saving my joints and my bones so I have a longer career. I'm 30. Most guys at my age, at my level, I'm probably considered one of the top 20 in the world, maybe 15, are a disaster when it comes to their joints. Big Aaron back there is a high-level bodybuilder, or was, and I guarantee he's got some type of joint issues, as with everyone else I'm competing with. And I really don't. So learning to train optimally through a full range of motion, learn to balance your body so everything's functioning and pulling in proper directions, as well as using less weight and more tension. Weight is important, don't get me wrong, but if it can increase, I'll show you guys some stuff in the weight room. Come up and show me. I'll show you some ideas of intention. It'll blow your mind how much your muscles will just feel like they're going to rip because there's so much tension going through them with a minimal amount of weight. So that's the idea behind intention. The real aspect of this DVD that is kind of the intensifier, kind of the sets you over the top for growth, it's called NOS. I don't know if you guys have heard Vince talk about NOS, neurological overload set. So what that is your body adapts to training by means of the nervous system. So if you can get your nervous system to adapt to a load or a training program, it's going to make you stronger, it's going to make you bigger. So we're trying to overload the nervous system with this training, and that's the premise of NOS. So. Anybody else? Yeah.
Let's take one more.
Welcome.
From Mitchell from Philadelphia. And I noticed you didn't have warm-up in your top 12. And I know that's a big thing, so I just wanted to know if you could go a little bit more real quick about warm-up, the best type of warm-up, and some of the benefits of it.
Great. Everybody hear that? Warm-up? Great question. And as I said, I could probably make a list of 60, but Vince's like, man, you got 45 minutes. I was like, okay. Again, the thing that I'll keep coming back to is it depends on what you're trying to do. It depends on what exercise you're doing next. I typically suggest warming up by means of something I call physical rehearsal. And all that means is if I'm doing a squat. If I'm going to do a leg press, if I'm going to do leg curl, do leg curl. You get people who do do the bike or whatever. Sure, that'll increase overall body temperature and circulation a little bit, but ideally you want to warm up the muscles that you're training, So there's definitely a place in warming up with the bike and treadmill, just increase body temperature. If you're on a time restraint, which usually I put my clients on a time restraint, 45 minutes to an hour in the gym and you're out, it's kind of it's not unnecessary, but it may be overkill. As long as you're doing sufficient amount of physical rehearsal, that's really, if that answers your question. I say, if you're doing a chest exercise or a chest workout, warm up your chest. Do some push-ups. There's a million things I could have put on there about stretching. I just try to avoid that because I could talk for 2 hours on that. But yeah, that's what I prefer. I highly suggest doing some type of warm-up and making sure your body's sufficiently warm, especially in the colder climates. Definitely important to improve body temperature, increase body temperature.
All right, can we give a huge round of applause? Ben Pac-Man Pakulski.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, man.
You gonna do?
Yeah, we'll leave that gift bag up there for anybody who asks a question. Feel free to come up and grab yourself a goodie. So you guys got a inside look to what I had access to the last 6 months. You guys, things starting to make sense now?